So League of Legends, huh?
Nick, this made me want to play League of Legends. How did you
Don't.
do that?
You
How did you do
there's
that?
actually someone there's a meme article going around where people are like, people who have watched Arcane don't play League of Legends. And it was really funny.
Just to attest to the quality of the show, I've tried League of Legends for 20 plus hours. I hate it. I cannot imagine any game I would less likely want to play. And this show made me want to play League of Legends, and I like have to resist the urge because I know how awful it is to me.
Yeah, I've played, for reference, I've played since season 1, so probably going on 11 years now. So I have a ton of experience, and I was pumped for this show. And overall, I will say this show does not disappoint in the slightest. It has its hiccups, but wonderful show. I think it's going to sweep across. I think it's going to sweep awards across the board.
I didn't know the lore going in, so it was kind of like actually watching this show. I imagine you probably knew some like the plot twists where you were like, "Oh yeah, haha, that person dies." Expected that one.
Well, it's not who dies; it's the guarantee of knowing who doesn't die, which can ruin something. Where it's like, "Oh man, this character was in an explosion. They're gonna be fine though."
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple I knew. Like when I heard Vi name dropped, I was never in any worry about her danger necessarily of like dying, but that didn't really have any impact on like my sense of disbelief or anything. Yeah, like I could still engage with it pretty well.
They pretty much know that we can expect who will live, so they don't put these characters in like life or death like bait and switches because we know the outcome. So good on them for not doing that. Do you want to just start like going into episode 1?
Yeah, couple things.
Is there any overarching things you want to talk about?
Art style good, looks like painting. That's basically it.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
said
remember
that
you were
before.
telling me initially you were kind of didn't like it, right?
Yeah, I mean the League of Legends like character art in the game looks really like polished and shiny. I don't know how to describe it, but it has a very like gross manufactured look to it, at least to me. The show looks a lot better, I think. It has like a duller, like matte look to it, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's basically it for general stuff. And then,
Yeah,
general quality stuff.
League has always been good at everything except for gameplay. My favorite thing about League of Legends games, my least favorite thing about League of Legends games is the game part, and the community.
League of Legends always wanted to make a movie, but they didn't have the budget, so they had to sell skins of Sona. Get that money.
There's a few of those. Episode 1. Really bold choice to start with a riot/police brutality scene in the year 2021.
I mean, it is their company, so, they had to open with a riot scene because they're riot.
No, but a little too relevant. Not too relevant, but it's like that could have gone poorly, and I liked it. I liked the scene a lot.
Yeah, there's been
I just thought it was funny.
a lot of climate stuff around protests and things like that have gotten a little ugly. So that it was cool that we still opened on that. This was such a cool scene. There's like just such good polish to like everything with it. I was really impressed from the get-go. Like I had to stop, pause, and like go back a few times and just be like, wow, they really did open on that. Where it's like they have the child song in minor key over like war-torn like surface world, which we learn later is like Piltover. But I was like, oh shit, like we're getting grim. And there's just like this Doom guy.
When
He comes out and shoots this guy. And like there's just blood. I was like, oh shit.
when this project was first announced, I'm like, oh, it's gonna just be some super safe PG-13-esque show where they'll say like, oh crap and darn. And Jinx will be wacky or whatever, and then they start the show this way, blood and fire, and I was just like, oh hell yeah! I was so much more excited for this tone.
Some guy's head exploded within 30 seconds, and I was like, dude, what is this show? I peeked the mic there.
League of Legends, what are you doing?
You'll see it. But, yeah, I just was mind blown like that guy's was. It was just very incredible opening on that. And then as we transition across like the bridge or whatever, we see like, oh, it's not like a child song. It's like the kid is singing it, which we learned is Powder. And we're like, oh, like the kid is like hiding from the like, you know, horrors of war by singing like this song, but like because she's singing it in minor key. I mean, obviously she's scared, but it's like, you know, it's another added layer there that was really cool.
Yeah. And kind of an overarching theme is she didn't know better.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't know how to sing, but overarching throughout the entire show. That is something we have this problem. I think it's more of a you thing than a me thing. I'm fine with a lot of like children characters. Mm-hmm. This show captures children characters in the best way possible, where they are semi-competent in the here and now with these skills like Milo lockpicking, Vi fighting, but they completely lack the ability to think ahead. And their consequences and or just mishaps in general, because they don't have full competency even in their skills, these lead the plot forward. Particularly Powder's, where she's in a group of semi-competents, she is completely incompetent in almost everything.
Yeah, because she's younger and everything too.
Yeah, she's growing. She's not going to always be incompetent.
Like,
but right now, she's a bit of a liability, to be honest.
I straight up hate kid characters because they either write them like, you know, dumb babies that don't know anything, typically, or even in something that's really liked, like, what's Promised Neverland? They just are kind of strategic geniuses in terms of like how we're gonna escape. At least from the couple episodes I saw, and I just didn't like it. Where it was just like, these don't seem like kids to me. It just kind of bothers me. This is like,
they're small adults.
Yeah, it's either small adults or they're all 18 months old.
Yeah,
no matter how big they are. And so League of Legends, Arcane, I forgot the name of the show. They do a good job where they don't feel like babies, but they don't feel like fully functioning adults. They have that like limited knowledge and like are capable, but they aren't like just full on, you know, planners or anything. They're solid. I don't know how to explain it better than you did or anything, but yeah, really good job on that.
Yeah, speaking of this little crew of Milo, Powder, Vi, and Clagger. Clagger reminds me of Murray from Sly Cooper. I don't know why. When they were hiding in the second episode, we just get like a face shot of him, and I'm just like, that's just a big hippo.
I have never played Sly Cooper, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, cool. Moving on.
There was still stuff I wanted to say about the beginning scene.
Go ahead.
So we'll learn later. I thought the mom that was dead here was Jinx. She's not. But what's really cool is then as this guy who's like saving the kids or whatever, it starts playing the same song tune that like Jinx was singing. Powder was singing. It's really cool how it's like, you know, she was singing it and it becomes like background music and it's like in the same minor key and everything. And it's just, there was like so much interconnectivity in that beginning scene. I was like, it's got it, you know, on lockdown.
Yeah.
And Imagine Dragons.
This show is, it definitely took me a while to get used to the Imagine Dragons song, but I wouldn't like it. I won't say it's an amazing song. It's all right. Definitely not their best work, I don't think.
I just do not like their energy of music in the opening after, you know, war-torn, you know, country. It's just like, I'm waking up, smell the chemicals. I don't know Imagine Dragons songs, but, you know, just like...
I'm waking up, napalm.
I love the smell.
I love that smell in the morning.
Bathroom cleaner. Yeah,
it makes sense because I've only ever really before knew this place as the area of Zon, which doesn't appear until later. This Undercity zone, I don't know if it's not supposed to be established as Zon yet. They just call it the Undercity. In universe, we know it as Zon.
Oh,
Piltover and Zon, the two like sister cities, with Piltover being the city of progress.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this going in.
I actually. Are you ready to move past the opening?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm ready to go to like the opening scene, not the cold open, but the actual first scene after opening credits.
Yeah, I love the establishing shot that they do. We really get like a scope of how wondrous and almost perfect Piltover seems at first. Like how perfect it looks.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice city. Not much to comment on it there, other than it's kind of like just standard utopian city. It looks nice. It has a unique aesthetic to it, but it shows you it's a nice city. That's all you really need to know about it at first.
I think they do a really good job as we see it's just a nice city from their perspective, but as we kind of go down Jace's subplot, which we'll get to in episode 2, Jace's, but as we go down this subplot, we get to learn the intricacies and problems of Piltover, and that's actually super interesting how from Powder and Vi, it's just like, oh, whatever, it's just a pretty good city. They live the comfy life. But then there are people actively struggling within there too.
Yeah, this show's gonna be really hard to talk about, I think, in terms of like staying linear with it, because it's so like well written and like interwoven with itself. You want to talk about the later stuff, even within like the same act. So if we go off a lot, that might be why. Compared to like High Guardian Spice, which was nothing happens, so we can just talk about it in order. That was cool. This is like, oh, there's so much establishing stuff that like comes back later that you like you want to talk about as it happens, but then you're like, oh no, yeah, happens later. That's all I really have to say about that.
Just a small note. I wrote down that when they break into Chase's office and Powder goes and takes a bite of his sandwich, I wrote down, "Ew, gross, stretchy salami." I don't know if you noticed, when she takes a bite, she stretches it so fucking far. It is awful looking.
Yeah, and the cheese is like really liquidy on the sandwich too, even though it's like been sitting there for a while pretty clearly.
I don't even want to think about the liquids in this show. They get awful. You only really see it in like when people get punched in this and or spit out blood, or when Jinx ugly cries.
They can do like the saliva look really well, but they apply that to all their liquidy substances, and it makes everything look gross.
Yeah. I've shown Wells a clip of, I think it's in Act 2, when Caitlyn and Vi are working together. Vi is just eating.
Spoilers.
She's just eating something, and it looks. I almost I had to stop and look away.
She's eating nachos.
It looks so awful. No, she's eating some fish thing.
Oh, I thought she was eating nachos with it or something.
No,
or just,
that
really
was
cheesy,
that was a meaty, fishy substance.
Ew.
Given to her by a bigger, fishier man.
Who I don't know who gave it to her.
He's just some schmuck.
Okay,
we'll get there when we get there.
I was thinking about the two men who could have possibly given it to her, and I'm like, I don't think they would be able to give it to her after the end of Act 1. in the no,
probably not.
City. They are a little bit incapable of doing that in their current state. I did kind of like how excited Powder was for that sandwich, though. I know we've been talking about this forever, but she's hungry, and it's just a nice
It was a good looking sandwich. Until we saw how stretchy that salami was, that was a good looking sandwich.
I think I saw the dust particles in the shop, and I just assumed it was a dusty sandwich, and I was like, oh, okay, she just doesn't question it. It's just sandwich.
I really like how they show how powerful these crystals are when we don't really know anything about them. These things will fuck you up.
All I wrote about the mana, the crystals at first was is this League of Legends mana? Is this... What's the reference?
No. There's no reference, really. I mean, they do later. There's, a crafting system in League called, Hextech gemstones, but we haven't gotten there yet. I think these are just Hextech crystals. So that's no reference, really.
Gotcha.
Which Hextech is what they call kind of this mixture of using magic to power technology.
Mm-hmm.
So that even people not with magic powers can also then use magic.
As they were breaking into the shop, I did like this little character moment where Milo is like picking the lock and he's taking a while. I was like, come on, just give me a little bit. Then Vi walks up, just fucking punches it. She's like, okay, we're in.
And he just goes, barbaric.
Yeah.
No, the way he says it too. I literally, the first time I watched it, I laughed. I was watching it with you in a call, and I just started laughing out loud and had to explain this joke to you. And it must have sounded really dumb without having seen it. But after seeing it, that was a genuinely funny moment of no joke really being told. Just like these two characters acting genuinely. And it's just funny.
Yeah.
And there's a few times that happens. That happens in the show a decent bit of time.
Yeah, I was impressed. I imagined that a lot of this was going to be really corny jokes because that's what a lot of video game media ends up being, is it's not funny. They're just like, man, what if I warded bot lane? And then like the laugh track kicks in or whatever. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. I want to watch the show. This had
It's almost like we expected the Cowboy Bebop adaptation, but just in League of Legends.
I'm not going to shit talk that. I haven't watched it yet. Or the original Cowboy Bebop, for that matter.
We've watched like 5 episodes. We literally are currently mid-watch, so don't give us too much shit for that.
All right, yeah, no, don't actually shit on us for that. I'm gonna hold my tongue.
You can shit on him, just not me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm the one who held my tongue. Shit on me because I was a coward. Do that.
Fuck this guy.
Also, who names their kid Clagger? How much do you hate your kid to name them Clagger? We've talked about this before, but I just wanted to bring that up. Like, that is the dumbest name.
Yeah, it's really dumb. But hey, worse things happen in the Undercity, I guess, than being named Clagger.
I would rather die than be named Clagger. I would not want to live with that pain.
What if you died and were named Clagger?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
That's just League of Legends.
Episode 3 it is, then. Anyways, so yeah, they managed to just take all this expensive shit from Jace's apartment, I guess, or his workshop, and then Powder drops one of these crystals as she's running away, which then explodes and just bombs the entire place. Windows blown out, floors coming out, the walls gone.
Like, this thing is the size of a marble, and it just decimates like a city block. Maybe not that big, but like an entire like corner apartment is just gone.
Yeah, we know these things are powerful.
I was surprised. I expected it to explode. I didn't expect it to like fucking disintegrate an entire apartment building. So that was cool. Maybe really respect the power of it as someone who doesn't know what they are.
Also, the very first time we get to see like really good visual effects. I mean, there was some good smoke and stuff from the bridge, but this was more of an active special effect where it's like a big grab your attention. And this show does special effects, like visual effects, super well.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that because it's like a really interesting mix of 2D on top of the show, which usually looks really bad, but I think it works really well here. I don't know how they did it.
Good post-processing.
Really good post-processing. You can tell it's like a 2D layer on top of stuff, but it looks more like an artistic choice than a saving budget and we're cheap choice, which is really, really cool. They did it really well stylistically.
Yeah. It's really cool when they happen in fights in particular. It's just a shame that this was the least fight-heavy part. Not a shame. This part had a purpose of laying a lot of groundwork. And I was surprised how much groundwork they laid while also making it incredibly engaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of shows will like say like the first couple episodes, this is the dump. You get to learn everything, then you get to have fun. This was like, hey, you're having fun and you're learning, which is what most good shows do. But I was impressed, even by that standard of like good show, how everything just was really engaging. But you were also just constantly, as someone who doesn't know anything about League of Legends, I'm like, I know all of League of Legends. Just put me in. I can get to Challenger now.
I am League of Legends Arcane.
I'm going to go main Arcane now in League of Legends. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, a good chase scene. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I honestly it's a blur. It wasn't super memorable, but it was not bad.
I liked it because Vi has some of the best quotes. If you're talking about like the thug in like the city street scene, or are we talking about the? Oh no, the police.
I'm talking
chase.
about running from the enforcers.
Police chase. Okay, I was gonna say that one was so good, but the police chase. There's nothing memorable about that. It was just kind of like an establishing. We gotta get away from the cops.
Yeah, we had to get from point A to point B. Here you go. Have some fun.
One of the cops,
And, it
throws out something, and
the bola.
yeah, it's like a bola looking thing, where it has like the spinny things. And I swear I heard the ward sound effect. I don't know why I heard that.
Maybe. I didn't. You might be thinking like a Mia ping. I didn't hear it real. I wasn't paying attention.
It was some kind of...
There was a lot of stimulus.
League of Legends sound, I thought.
Yeah, there was a League of Legends in there.
Just a little bit.
Anyways, then, before we get to the Deckard fight, we have this one establishing shot of the Undercity. And this is not a bad offender of this, but there's a big complaint I have about this show. And honestly, it kind of knocks the show down probably more than it would for most people, for me. It's that, in particular this scene, when we are introduced to the Undercity, this music is not fitting, I don't think. This isn't the worst offender again. But
is this
a pop song isn't the best way to establish a large environment, I don't think, unless that environment is supposed to encompass the ideals of pop. Like when we get the establishing shot of Piltover, we get this really grand, like sweeping, like music accompanying a grand shot. Now we are getting a grand shot, but a pop song instead. And so I don't know if pop's the right term, but it's just, I would have even liked something more generic even to the music. Like any generic, just like industrial song would have been fine here. But I think the pop kind of dragged me out.
Was this the shot where we saw like the Gromp whatever guy in a cage? Is this the one you're talking about?
Krug, yeah. Yes.
Because if it was that music, I actually, surprisingly, I liked it in that scene. You will be surprised to hear that. I was not bothered by it. I kind of liked... It sounded almost like industrial pop rock in a weird way. Like, it didn't fit super well. Like, there could have been better choices. But, like, it felt like that kind of dark, deepy energy that, like, an Undercity would have to an extent. I think it was all right.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the least offending versions of that, but this is probably what I'll be calling the featured artist moments, where the show has this, it feels the necessity to feature an artist at just some point in the show, because Riot has a long history with music and doing music videos and featured artists, and I'm kind of upset that they felt the need to bring that into this show. And that will definitely come into play in Act 2. Act 2, I think, is the worst offender of that.
Yeah, this one didn't seem that bad. You've told me, like, it gets worse in terms of this artist, like, dumping stuff. I think the first time you showed me this, I agreed with you, but having, like, watching the show all the way through and getting to that part, it just didn't take me out of it. Maybe because I was expecting it at some point, but I had forgotten about it. Yeah. When we got to it, I was like, oh, this is fine. Like,
it was just really jarring at the moment. At the very first moment. But now, rewatching it, it's fine. But I just wanted to establish the problem now, because it will be a reoccurring problem.
Yeah. I don't know. This time it didn't bother me all that much. It might later. I might be in Act 2 and be like, bullshit, I don't want to listen to, like, Ariana bullshit. Grande during my fucking League of Legends show. We'll just have like Fortnite concert breaks just in the middle of League of Legends Act 2, basically. I thought the ugly granny elf goblin prostitute was funny. 10 out of 10.
Yes. She is funny.
The most appropriate transition. I accidentally clapped in that. It's not a clap sync, but
you slow clapping? So when he was watching it, he sent me this one message when he was on the 3rd episode where he's like, fucking slow clapping in all caps. And I just said I love him.
I can't believe they did it. It just did it to him. I think... Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the robber chase scene. We kind of went out of order here. But...
We talked about it. We just said it was kind of insignificant, like them being chased by the enforcers.
The thug scene. Sorry, I have it labeled as after the robbing chase scene for some reason.
That happens after they get to just no.
No,
Are
it's
they
above
still,
ground.
They're still in Piltover. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. This is what sealed my love.
There was something I wanted to say. It was that the slow motion fight scene that they do with they called him Deckard. I don't know if Deckard is a title or a name. I'm just gonna call him Deckard.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we actually ever get a name for him.
That was his subtitled name. I forget it half the time when we get later. Because Deckard stops mattering real quick as being Deckard. But
yeah,
he's still there. And I fucking forget his name half the time. But, you know, Devin or whoever. Yeah, he's just like,
yeah, Devin.
oh, I saw you getting away from the cops. Maybe you give me a little taste of the thing.
Hey, yo, Toots. What's in the bag?
And I love it so much because she walks up to him and is like, just a taste? Uh-huh.
Smack.
It's decked. And it's like
Deckard.
It's like a Marvel movie moment. I love it.
The fact that they do it so infrequently makes it much more satisfying. Whereas Marvel's problem is every single moment of a Marvel movie is a Marvel moment.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I hate the Marvel movie moment, but it was done so well here, and it was kind of like a semi-Marvel movie moment of the quick quip, but it just didn't feel stupid because it wasn't like where every scene in every like Marvel movie post like first Avengers, I think is where it was that it started, where it's just every character is like, oh, I'm quippy, I'm so funny, look at me, I am hilarious.
I'm the bringer of ultimate doom, let me tell a pun.
I'm gonna be sassy and say, what are those? That was in the Black Panther movie, by the way, never forget that. They put a what are those joke in fucking Black Panther. Don't forget what Disney took from you.
Don't forget what they forced upon you.
That second half of the movie of Black Panther was way better, but it was disgusting. I almost walked out of the theater when that happened. Not to sidetrack too much, but fuck that like scene so much.
Oh yeah, what I wanted to say about Deckard was I don't know if this is because I don't watch a lot of action movies, but watching the fight in slow motion, their faces just look kind of goofy when they got punched in slow motion.
It was a little goofy, but I think the slow motion served the purpose of showing how it was traumatizing to Powder, where she's like, I never got over like that war trauma a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, violence scary. Also, I'm weak.
All right, keep talking. Give me a sec.
Okay. I actually like Clagger because he did pocket sand like Dale Gribble. I loved it. He just took a bunch of sand, threw it in some kid's face, and I'm like, let's go, Clagger. Hate your name. Love your character. You're cool. Actually like you again. I don't really understand his specialty in the group, though. Because, you know, Milo picks locks. Powder has, like, the mechanic stuff. Vi punches things, and Clagger also punches things, but is less good at it.
Clagger's the muscle.
Yeah,
Vi is the fighter, he is the muscle, if you can understand the difference between the two.
No.
Something needs being carried, Clagger carries it.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Like, if something needs to be pushed over, Clagger pushes it over.
Vi punch
That's
good.
what I get.
Clagger has
If
big,
something needs to
meaty
be
arms.
fought, Vi will fight it.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. So that was cool. And there was one thing with Deckard at the end where he like gets up, he's like, wait! And he has a knife. She walks up to him and is like, want to see how that ends? And he just walks away. He runs away. It's so good. Because he's just like, again, it's like the Marvel kind of quip, but it's done for intimidation and like as a spit in his face and not like, you know, I want to make the audience laugh. Like, it feels like she just wants to spite him. It's like, you're really doing that? They don't make it like a big moment.
It's not a look at the camera moment and her going, did I do that?
When we get Steve Urkel in this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm a Steve Urkel main in League of Legends.
Powder runs away as being chased by some thug. Which is that's all right. She just kind of runs away, gets cornered out of the dock. Almost makes it away. Cool foreshadowing to her incompetency. She knocks over a board. Which I was like just a minor thing, but if you look back on it in later episodes, you're like, okay, she's the worst at everything.
Yeah, she's just incompetent.
But it's okay because she's like 8. That's the kind of incompetence I like. Is she's like clumsy because she's like a child. Like it doesn't feel like, oops, the bad guy tricked me by pretending to be my mommy, and then it's just I knocked over a board to let them know where they were.
Yeah.
And they lose the loot because she's a coward, and Powder throws it in the ocean. Well, most of it. And
Yeah, she manages to keep the hextite crystals.
Mm-hmm. That's all I really have to say on that.
Yeah, then we go to the Undercity, establishing shot. Then we get to we get to the bar, and we're actually introduced to this, like, mousy-looking guy. And I love this dude. This guy's great. It just shows that this guy had no need to have such, like, an animated personality, but he does. And it's just so much character packed into such an insignificant guy in this bar. But it then leads to an altercation. Someone's not paying him enough. And suddenly the bar owner, who we learn is Vander, gets involved. And this is a great way to introduce Vander. He is a mediator down here. He's the one in charge. People listen to him. Mm-hmm. And this is a great way to show that, is through, if anything happens, he has sway over the outcome. If something happens down here.
I love Vander so much.
Vander's great. Vander is just big dad energy.
Yeah. And the squirrely guy, too. I have just in the notes... I forget why it happens. It's just some random like moment, but it's just Vander smokes some whack shit.
Oh yeah, because he gives it to, he's like, are we good here? And he gives her the pipe, she's smoking. She's like, this is vile. It's like, you get used to it.
He smoked something hard, and it was so funny because I'm just
I think he smoked straight sewage.
Oh, ew.
No, that's a joke, but...
No, I can imagine that being like a League of Legends lore thing. Is like he smokes literal piss because he's so tough. Or something like that. Is Vander like in League of Legends or no?
Well, there's an interesting thing about that.
Okay.
And that a season 2 is announced.
Of Arcane?
And yes. And at the very end of the season 2 announcement trailer, we hear the sound effect of a passive of a character. And from certain lore, we can piece together who that character is.
What Illuminati shit is like the League of Legends community on?
It's not Illuminati shit.
It's
just straight up like, it's just like, oh shit, that's this guy's passive noise. Where it's a very distinct noise.
Okay.
It's not just like a...
Calculating the weight of the footsteps by the person, they had to at least be 278 pounds.
It's a musical sting. It's a motif, you'll notice.
Is that gonna be Sona then? Because she does like music stuff.
No.
Hatsune Miku looking lady.
You think Sona's just gonna walk through Zon, just be like... She's also mute, by the way, so she's just gonna get robbed and can't scream for help.
Sounds like a good time. I'd watch that for 9 episodes. Just Sona gets beaten up in an alleyway and robbed for 9 straight episodes. I'd watch it. Oh, by the way, the scrawny-looking guy's name is Huck, apparently, based on the subtitles.
I love it. It's
I love him.
Huck doesn't give a Huck does give a fuck, and I guess that's the point, isn't it?
Because he's like this timid guy, but he still stands up for himself, too. Going back on like this minor, insignificant character that doesn't come up again in this act. He's just like... It was supposed to be 10,000.
10,000.
And like he's so nervous and he's shaking his boots, but he's like, I want my money.
I need my money, bitch.
I need my money, bitch. He's like a Porky Pig.
Oh, I love him.
He's so good. Like it's like it's what I love about this show. It's like so minor, like characters and characterization things. They're just like instantly within 5 seconds you love this guy. And it just doesn't matter, like, at all. He's just an establishing character for another character. That's all that matters about him right now. Like, I've heard he might appear a little bit later. I have no idea if he's gonna be, like, a big bad villain or whatever, but, like, he's
literally Dr. Mundo.
Huck is just Mundo.
Money time!
Anagram.
You took my money, bitch. Now he's just Money Man Mundo. He's got the corporate skin, even.
I'm imagining Mundo with like a little stutter. He's like, I'm going
God, I
old.
hope we get... Mundo is from Zon. That means he is potentially in season 2.
Wait, what about... I missed the first part of that.
Mundo is from Zon. That means he is potentially in season 2.
Oh, he is! I love Dr. Mundo. Remember they were going to make him just a hand, by the way? You showed me the concept art. Imagine if, like, Hand Mundo made it into season 2, where he's just a giant hand.
So funny. I mean, honestly, I hate to jump to season 3 already, but when we see Deckard take...
season 3?
Episode 3.
Oh, okay.
When we see Deckard take the drugs, he straight up does a very similar animation to when Mundo ults. And so that makes me think Shimmer... Sorry, this drug is called Shimmer. That isn't established until next act, but it doesn't spoil anything.
No, I remember the name Shimmer at the very end of episode 3, I think.
Did someone?
One time.
Okay, cool.
It was in subtitles, is why I caught it. If it wasn't, I would have caught it.
Yeah, so this is called Shimmer. But when he drinks this Shimmer, that is the exact, like, the muscles bulge in, like, one side of his arm, and then, like, the other side grows to compensate. That's the exact animation of Mundo when he ults.
Oh, okay.
Which Mundo is just a self-proclaimed doctor. So, like, drugs make sense.
Yeah.
And I think his ult is called, like, overdosing or something.
Nice. We didn't even talk about the most important part of Vander. He's the dad to, like, all the kids.
Yes, he was actually the guy who led the resistance on the bridge. He led the fight to try and fight for, like, their own equality initially against Piltover. And so I think from episode 1, we can understand that he has kind of sold out to Piltover in order to live whatever life he can down here.
Yeah, he also, like, he's the one on the bridge in the very opening that takes the kids to the underground after their parents die. He takes them in, and he fosters, like, the 4 kids underneath his bar. And he has, like, dad energy, but he's also still, like, a little rascal. I like him.
Yeah.
His belt is also really cool. I wrote that down. He's like a little...
He has dad and fun uncle energy, where he's not always going to be the most responsible as the fun uncle, but he's going to get the job done as the dad.
Yeah. He's the perfect, like, he's the avatar of dad figures in your life. Because he has, like, stories from the war, like the granddad, too. He's got, like, the full, like, trio there.
I was in the war. I know, I was there too, Pops.
Yeah,
I'm kind of upset Vi doesn't call him Pops. That seems like a very in-character thing she would do.
Let's call him Pops? Or call him just Vander?
Or just call him Pops.
I would love that.
It was like Powder would call him Vander, but Vi would just be like, thanks, Pops.
We're kind of getting derailed here. I'm trying to think of, like, if there's anything underneath the bar. Because the bar scene was, like, one of the best scenes, I think, in the first act.
Yeah,
probably.
It was just great. Just a great character moments of these minor characters and introducing Vander. And then Vander goes and talks to them where he's like, so I heard some news. Story going around is...
the city fucking blew up, and there were 4 kids on the scene. Did it happen
now, I happen
guys?
to know 4 kids.
And so, yeah, he tells him, like, you can't do that. But also, it's like, hey, did you beat the shit out of that punk Vi? She's like, yeah.
You better have won that fight, right? He's like, I did, Pops. And he's like, that a girl.
And he talks about, like, Vi, you can't be selfish because people look up to you. That comes into play a little bit later. I didn't write anything down about it later because I'm just realizing it now. But, like, you know, as a leader, you have to make certain choices. You can't be selfish because people will follow you no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, if you do
Vander
something,
is an
you can't stop
incredible influence to Vi throughout the show. Like, well, it's obvious that's what they're setting up for.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is a figure of influence, and this is an important character. We will see these motifs return. Not motifs, I keep saying that term. We will see this advice return and be used or ignored.
Mm-hmm. It's
and
like,
that the use or ignorance of that advice will lead Vi down a path of further character development.
I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like, because I think the advice sticks a little bit, but not enough. There's like
I mean, there's some things where it's like, I like in media where when someone gives advice, the other person ignores it until they come to a fault, and they're like, oh, I guess you were right.
Yeah. Because it's like advice I feel like hardly ever sticks for the first time in anybody. Unless you're very good at like learning things and you're like that kind of studious person. It's like people are set in their ways. It takes a while for them to change, whether, you know, that's doable or not. Like if you have the time to do it or not. We do get this conversation afterwards though about her and Milo talking about like how powder is just shit.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say on that?
Not really. It's just one of those person eavesdrops, hears certain part of conversation, leaves, doesn't hear the context.
Yeah. This one felt
which is surprisingly more common than I'm making it out to seem.
No, it happens all the time. It's like in children's movies, it's called the third act conflict because it happens so often in the third act of like, hey, these characters are best friends. And then it's like, I said something that's like, I hate you, but he makes a good sandwich. And then he hears it, he's like, fuck you! You suck! And it's a whole fight, and they get back together in the last 10 minutes of the movie. For some reason. That's just such a common thing in really bad kids' movies. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it as much here. It felt kind of earned. Like, I don't know if earned is the right way, but like, it had built up to, like, you know, they didn't think highly of her already. It was kind of evident of that. But she still at least had Vi, and Vi still doesn't think highly of her. So she hears, like, the right part of the conversation. She doesn't hear the part of Vi sticking up for her despite that. Which kind of matters, but it's still not like, you know, you said something, but like actually the thing you said wasn't the thing you said. It's still like the part that she heard that's what she needed to hear, you know?
Yeah.
It felt, for those moments, it was one of the better ones. That's all I really wanted to say on that. I was impressed by like the bullshitness of it, but it didn't feel bullshit, you know?
It didn't feel too bad.
Didn't take me out of the story, yeah.
Definitely. I wasn't like, oh, this is bullshit. She just happened to...
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, that's fair.
The motorboat didn't start. It's going to be some good audio right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the waveform. That looks fun. Yeah, I don't really have notes for the rest of this episode. What do you want
to really? I have just a little bit more.
I know there was stuff that happened with like Silco, but... Is there anything else you want to talk about this? I think after this we cut to Silco, right?
A couple scenes after we cut to Silco.
Okay.
Because we get, like, the resolution scene between Vi and Powder, but before that, Vander has to go off and fix, like, some of the problems that this caused. And so he talks to Benzo, and I love their dynamic so much, because...
Oh, what is this? The shittiest business in all the Undercenter? It's like, yeah, and a fucking awful seller, too, and they just laugh at each other.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, have you heard about what's happening in Piltover? He's like, oh, me and half the city, you know?
But like, they're good friends who go way back that, like, they could shit-talk each other.
Yeah, it's perfect. And we see a little bit of Echo here, not very important. I
do like Echo's working on a clock, very thematic for the character.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about his like abilities in League of Legends. Don't know how he gets them, but
he's a time boy.
Yeah,
his whole shtick is time, and so there's some fun motifs with that. But he never is actually a time boy in the show. That is assumed to happen afterwards, after the show. Maybe in season 2 we will see him become the quote unquote time boy.
I'm excited for him to become the Doctor Who whenever that happens. That'll be fun. I did like, there was a scene where he goes up when the police come in. He has like a little spyglass in the shop. And I'm just like, that's perfect. Yeah. It's like a little character thing. I love it.
But fun fact, the mask that he spies through is actually the mask of a character from League of Legends.
Really? I didn't catch that.
That is Jin's mask.
I don't know who Jin is.
I'll have to see.
Who is that?
Wait. Jin mask.
That's what the mask is.
He's a guy with a gun who shoots 4 bullets.
I know that guy. I didn't know that was Jin,
That's
nor
Jin.
That was his mask.
His whole shtick is like, he's an artist, and his art is killing people.
My favorite kind of art, because you can't sell it.
Like fart. Oh, fun little thing about Vander that me and my friend Kyle did. That's Jen.
Yeah, that's him.
But anyways, there's this thing that they did on Twitter where you can make your own banner, and there's like a banner creator for your Twitter. And so
Like through
Kyle
League of
and
Legends
I,
Twitter?
for Arcane, yeah,
Okay.
they just said here, like, you get to choose Arcane characters, you get to choose a background, you get to choose a border. So Kyle and I made out to make the worst one that we could.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we happen to choose Vander for this, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. So I'm sending it to you now, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen too.
That might be the
it's
worst
pretty
fucking thing I've
awful.
ever seen in my life.
So you get a Twitter profile picture, and you get a banner, and it is
That
abysmal.
that needs to go on like a Tinder profile. It's just Vander.
Vander. Like, I think we got to choose that font too. That, like, we chose the most jarring shit. We chose the green of Zon. We chose the whole, like, Jinx's motif of the drawings. Piltover's text, and then Vander.
Like just you.
So much-
You got to write what was the text. So you
No,
just wrote
no,
his
no.
name.
We just get to choose a character, and the character's name was the text.
Oh, okay.
Vander.
I like how kind of low res his face looks in that. It's a little crusty.
I love how it, like, the bottom one doesn't really fit. Not the bottom
Oh,
one.
it's
the
like, yeah, it's
left and
mostly
right.
neck
The
in the profile
icon.
picture. 'Cause he's so
Yes,
tall.
mostly.
Oh,
He's a large boy. All right, enough of that.
yeah, okay. So anyways, another thing that I liked, as after the police come in, there is a little thing where they're talking, and they're like, stop playing, with that thick head of yours, because you know what we're talking about. And so then Vandar's like, is my head thick? And then Benzo's like, a little bit, just a little bit above average.
Above average. As he's like, he's like chewing or smoking something too. He's like, above average.
It's just
It's
casual
so casual
conversation
for them.
where they're like
While
being
they're being
held.
almost interrogated.
It's so good because they're just it's funny, but you can also tell they're just used to this shit. They're just like, yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. Not gonna get anything out of me.
And we
They'll
learn
leave.
that they have an agreement through this conversation, that they have an agreement with what's her name? The sheriff, we'll call her.
Yeah.
And we also learn about Marcus, this hot-headed underling of the sheriff. He doesn't do much yet.
Yeah.
Episode
I was
3
about to
does.
say,
Episode 3, he actually does
shit,
something
dude. He
pretty
does
important.
he's important. It's not yet. He's just kind of nobody
Yeah.
right now, and you think he's gonna stay a nobody too, and he doesn't. That's the fun part.
Yeah. He actually comes back, and we're just like, oh, hey. He's a fun little police corruption subplot.
Yeah, very
So
minor
fun.
one. And then the last scene that I want to talk about, because I loved this scene so much.
Oh, Silco?
No, it's before that one.
Fuck. I love Silco.
I can
What
tell.
scene?
I do not like Silco all that much, but
Fuck you.
he's all right. There's no bad characters in this show, but it's Vi and Powder are out on the rooftop, and so they go out like
You
sightseeing.
sent me a message about this.
No, this is not at all related to the message I sent, because it's talking about like a dude pissing and like some CinemaSins bullshit.
No,
I was like, whatever.
So you go on. Go ahead.
It's not related. A lot of this is just like, hey, we all screw up. They like take a tour around the city. It's like, here was Milo drawing a middle finger and he fell off. Here's where the kid that like has a bad name that I can't remember because no one likes him.
Clagger.
He fell off in the bridge and he messed up. And then we have this cool shot where it's like, and then that, and we like do a cool like shot into the distance, like the foreground focus thing shows like a doll in the electric wiring, and it's like that was my biggest mistake. Some guy took my doll, threw it up there. I was hoping it would
Even
eventually
I
come
fuck
down.
up.
Yeah, I fucked up. And so
I really like that. Sorry to interrupt, but I
Yeah, you go
really
ahead.
like that she is guiding her physical vision with her hand, but she is also guiding her, in a mentor, like sisterly way.
yeah.
And also the message that I was talking about, I didn't want to leave this hanging. The message you were talking about was that when she put a pipe up to her eye, it zoomed in for some reason like a sniper scope, and it was
Yeah,
really funny.
it's funny, but like it does not matter. It did not take any away from my enjoyment of the show, and I was just like, how do you think someone has made like a CinemaSins video or something? Where like, what? It's not real. You can't zoom in on a pipe. It's not how it works. Because it's just like, shut the fuck up. No one cares. It's not a real problem.
About Cinema Sings. Sings.
CinemaSins.
Wait, when does Cinema sing? Sorry.
What?
They sing
No,
Imagine
there totally
Dragons.
should be a channel called Cinema Sings that just breaks down pop songs. Like, and that same chord again that's in every other pop song. Ding. I would love that.
Wow, what a cliche.
Yeah, wow, cliche. She learned this singing from the Final Destination of singing away from things, or whatever they say over and over again. When the thing falls and they run like vertically, and he calls out in every single movie because it's like the one long running joke they have. Anyways, enough about CinemaSins bullshit. I really like the shot of like the toys in the wire. It's just a really cool shot. I don't know. Just really like that direction.
Good. What? Can we talk about Silco now?
Yeah, we can talk about Silco.
I like Silco.
Okay, episode 2.
I like him in this act. I have problems with him going forward, but in this act, Silco is a great villain, a very ambitious villain where he's kind of sick of the world's bullshit, but it's kind of edgy. He's pretty edgy, but also it's a little justified. Whereas like I was backstabbed by my own brother.
Yeah.
And so he kind of feels he can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty like basic Bond villain feel almost.
By the way, he's not known as Silco yet. They just call him Man 1 in the subtitles. So
oh, do they?
Yeah.
That's who Man 1 was?
Yeah, that's who Man 1 was. And I was like, oh shit, Man 1, he's going evil mode.
That's funny.
And the first time that Singed is in the, like, mentioned my name, not even in the story, it's just in subtitles. I was like, yeah, it's just Singed. But Silco, he gets to be called Man 1. He's that special.
I actually really like Singed, but we'll get about that next time.
Yeah, I like how we find out at this end, though, we're like, oh, the thug, like, Deckard, he's working for Silco. Like, that's the evil thing. They were like, there's worse things than the Piltover people that are lurking down here. And that was it. And so they do some drug testing. What was interesting, too, was, like, he's using eye drugs, which, like, I've seen that specific design in something, I think, both Cowboy Bebop, like, in the first episode, but also in Looper. It's just, like, this weird sci-fi thing where it's, like, they're all the same looking needle eye drug where it sprays in your eye.
This one doesn't spray. This one stabs.
Oh, that one stabs. It was far away enough I didn't see it.
You don't get to see it yet, but it comes back.
The other one's spray. So I guess that's the difference.
This one is stab.
This one's hardcore. It's like the crack versus, regular cocaine.
You only got so many holes of entry wells.
And the iris is the one you choose?
I prefer that one over a few others.
I think that'd be the last one I'd choose. Like, I would even choose, like, nostril above eye.
Oh, yeah, that's like nasal sprays,
I mean,
nasal spray the shimmer.
Yeah. That would be so funny for drugs. It's just, like, the aesthetic.
It's like I'm powering up.
The aesthetic, like, coolness is lost. It's just like, Vander,
give me
powered
5 or 10 minutes.
Or he just uses like an inhaler or something. We see some whatever like shimmer testing, and the rat gets angry. That's it. I just wrote mouse very scary. That was the end of it.
I kind of wish that we heard like a Twitch voice line there, but it's obviously that's not what Twitch is. But that would have just been funny if he went or something like Twitch. But I just want my rat boy.
I think I still have a drawing I made where I just put Twitch as a rat for the Chuck E. Cheese logo. It's just this where a kid can be a kid.
What?
I drew it like freshman year of college. I think I still have it.
Why?
I don't know. It was for some sort of like, we're at a contest for something, and it was like, draw League of Legends. Here's the characters you gotta draw. And it was like, I don't know anything about Twitch except he's a rat, so I just drew him as Chuck E. Cheese. It's just
my good old
rat.
cheese rat.
It's just a rat. That's all it is. Yeah.
I think that about does it for episode 1.
The underwater set was also cool. There's nothing I had to say about it other than like it's one of my favorite settings in the entire like the window with like the big fish and like the plants and all that stuff. His laboratory is very nice. That was just
I
aesthetic.
wanted Pike to swim by, but that's because I'm a Pike main.
I thought he was gonna swim by because I saw the barrel and I'm
No,
like,
he's in He's not in Piltover. He's in fucking Bilgewater.
How far does his list go?
Asking that's like asking, oh man, where's Crocodile Dundee in Great Britain? They're half a world apart.
What if a crocodile got away and swam all the way to Britain? Would he not go after
He's chasing
it?
Silco is obviously the proverbial captain of this crew, so Pike must hunt him down. So, was that everything for episode 1?
Yeah, that was it. Talked to death about it, I think, honestly. It was a good show.
Just a little bit.
Good show.
Good episode. First episode. Mm-hmm. Well, there's more. Well, so we got more to talk
However, the second episode is also good.
Believe it or not. Here, so we start out where we see these two characters, Jace and Caitlin, as we will learn to know them as, are walking to Jace's office, which happens to be the office that blows up. So we hear when they are trying to rob the place, we hear someone trying to enter, and that is Jace. And it's really cool to then cut to who was on the other side of the door when they were escaping.
Yeah.
So he gets knocked out, and we get to learn his backstory, where he was just traveling with his mother through some frozen wasteland, some winter wonderland, and they are dying just from hypothermia. And so a mage comes across and finds them, and he saves them, who we can only presume for any League of Legends fan is Ryze, and don't know why he's not blue, but that's whatever. He wakes up from his dream, and we know that it's actually a really cool sequence when he teleports him. We get this really surreal moment of just like him holding his hand over the world, and it looks really cool, and the world turns into an eyeball, and I love every moment of it, mostly because I was also a Ryze main at one point. But anyways.
Yeah, it's cool. I like because it establishes kind of like, you know, oh, this is important to him. Why is it important? And then we see the thing on his wrist from the backstory, and then you see how he's like exploring magic because of it, but he's also a scientist. It's a whole cool thing. I like it.
Yeah, and it's like you could make the argument that merging magic and technology would be cool for any scientist, but he goes one step further where it's like it saved his life. He's looked through the looking glass. He's looked through the veil. He's seen what magic is like. Whereas other scientists will just be like, oh, magic, that's an interesting subject. Let's read it. Like, no matter how much you read about magic, you wouldn't be able to experience what he experienced.
Mm-hmm. He's like this bridge between like science and fantasy, where it's just only one person can really experience that, like in a lifetime. It's crazy.
Definitely. So anyways, then he's arrested.
Yeah, I mean, because he had you're not allowed to make progress as a scientist. It's very illegal. Don't do it. Well, not
magic progress, and that makes sense because we get a flashback of it might be next episode. No, wait, it's this episode because we have the trial this episode. Right?
Yeah, the trial's this episode.
Yeah, so we see when Heimerdinger is just like, we cannot repeat that. We get a flashback of a mage just like nuking a town. And that may have been I don't know enough of Ryze's backstory, but I know Ryze is definitely a proponent of magic helps, but magic can also doom us.
I don't know why, but fucking Heimerdinger is just so funny when he walks around. He's just like, oh, Jace, you can't bring it out to the end of the world.
Indubitably.
And he's like, I'm sorry, Professor Heimerdinger. And I'm like, whoa, Professor Heimerdinger. What?
Heimerdinger's great. It's a shame he only exists in this part to just say, don't merge magic and technology. That's pretty much his only point in this act.
He just exists. He like, it's cool because he is like one of the meddling adults, many that we've seen, where he's just like, yeah, you know, just say you didn't know, and that there's no magic. Don't worry about it. Just that you were working with things that you had no knowledge of, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's on his side.
And then
it's cool.
We'll get to the trial when we get there. But I think then we cut to the Undercity.
Yeah,
and
the
arcade.
Cops
are still like... What'd you say?
I think it's the arcade is what I have next.
Yes, the arcade. The kids are like, Jinx, we learned drink powder is a good shot. Better than Milo even, and that's one of her traits, is that she's just a good shot. She fixes things and she's a good shot. Well, most of her shit doesn't work, but she can fix things.
She's capable of like doing things. She's just not experienced enough because she's fucking 8 or whatever. She's a kid. It's good.
We see a guy spits on her shoes, and this is when we really get a first look at how vile the liquids are in this show.
Because the guard is like, hey, can you help us find the kid? He's just like, he's leaning in like he's gonna whisper it, and he just spits all over her shoes.
It was a good moment, except for the liquid.
I do like the arcade, by the way, as like an environment. It's very, very cool. Like,
yes,
it's really cemented. I'm like, I love this. And I was like, man, I should play some League of Legends.
I love that liquid is what powers everything. That's not electricity. It's when she puts the pipes together, like, things around these areas are powered by liquids. And it's really cool. It's like this chemical. This green chemical. That's what gives Zon this really green vibe.
It's like radiation energy or something, like in the liquid or something.
Yeah, it's probably not safe to drink, honestly.
Probably not. I'd try it, though. Looks like
go ahead.
Mountain Dew.
Oh god, it probably is Mountain Dew. It's probably as vile.
League of Legends got its lore sponsored by Mountain Dew. It's official in the canon.
They put Heimerdinger in the soda. So anyways, what happens after that? Oh yeah, they run from the cops. The cops are gonna, like, because the guy who spit gets pushed through a window, and they see all 4 kids. You know, what they're looking for. So they look to pat them down, and they're like, we don't got shit, says Milo. Well, hey Milo, we kinda got some shit.
Hey Powder, you got some shit on you, cause you screw up.
Yeah, so they run away, they get away. And they also get a big ego boost from this, where it's like what the fuck? We just beat up we just won against enforcers. Why is everyone else so scared to fight it? Kids beat them.
It's a short fight, but I like the shot where Milo just starts shooting the toy gun at the guards, and they're like, dude. And then he just gets hit over the head with like something that Vi throws at him.
They just look at each other like, this fucking guy, can you believe him?
Not like our real pew-pews as the army. And then they just gets knocked over the head.
And they pull out batons.
Yeah.
I really like how they have like lever action rifles. We don't got like semi-auto stuff yet.
Yeah, we're like semi-steampunk.
Yeah.
But like future steampunk because of like the liquid.
Low industrial steampunk, I think would probably be a good term.
Dew-punk. Because it's not steam that powers everything. It's the dew.
God damn it. Well, no, Piltover is steampunk. Zon is dew-punk.
Yeah!
I hate it.
There was this one shot where like Powder slams something down, like the jaws of like a toy, like arcade training.
Oh yeah, the little chomper.
He's like, oh! I've tried to scream without peeking because I look away and I just keep peeking the fucking mic. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It'll all get normalized. Hopefully.
And then afterwards, we cut to a new character who we get to meet. Her name's Mel. She's a member of the council, and I really like her design.
Yeah.
I really like the gold flakes under her eyes. It really helps sell this like nobility status.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she, like, when she talks, that she's the worst of her noble family.
Mm-hmm. She's like picking out a gift, and I didn't really understand this scene at first because I kind of like was writing notes and saw it, but there's this part where they're like, but this is a children's toy. She's like, it's perfect. And she gives it to a council member during the trial, and she's like, it was only built for the most superior of minds. And he's like, I love it. And he can't solve it during the trial. He cuts to him every once in a while. He's like struggling with the kid's toy.
Remember that toy. It's really funny.
Oh, is it actually important?
No.
Oh, okay.
But let's just say that it time skips, he's still messing with it.
That's
We'd
amazing.
skip, like, years, and he is still messing with it.
I can't believe that. That's ridiculous. I
And then the most important establishing part of this is that she hears about a promising inventor called Jace Talus, who is Jace.
Is that his last name?
And so that is on her mind. Talus, yeah, I assume the Talus family.
Didn't
So
know.
everything has a T. They're hammermen.
Nice.
Yeah, they make hammers. So then we cut back to the lanes, and people are unanimously like, "Hey, Vander, let's go fuck them up." But Vander no want fight.
Oh, we're not going to talk about the trial at all?
The trial happens after.
Oh, yeah, it goes back and forth a lot. I forgot. I didn't write
Yeah.
that down in the notes very much.
I just wrote, cut to meeting Mel, cut back to Lanes talking about fighting the enforcers, Jay's trial.
Okay, yeah.
But anyways, there's not a whole lot to say about them talking this through. People are just frustrated, and we get to see that in a lot of people's faces. They're like, we're sick of this shit. They're like coming onto our land and demanding things from us.
And this attitude of like, Vander, you built the underground. Stop being a little bitch. And he's like, but I don't
where was
want
the
everything to
Vander
lose
I
everything.
once knew? And he's like, what he doesn't want to say is, now I have something to lose. So anyways, then we cut to the Jace trial. And I love the lighting in this trial. It's so good with the central lighting on Jace. As they show it's very purposeful, because the entire room is built to do this lighting. This isn't just some mood lighting that came from nowhere. No, this is meant to happen. So the central light is on Jace. Not only is he under trial, but he's being interrogated for his work by the others, and he's kind of inner testing his own convictions. And that test leads to him out with his outburst saying, "I'm trying to do magic. Like, I'm trying to make magic technology." And everyone's just like, "That's fucking ridiculous.
Heresy.
What are you talking? What are you talking about? Get him out of here." And he's like, no, I can do this. And so now they're looking for results. And they had really good world building on why magic is bad, because they used the narrative of Heimerdinger telling his backstory, not his backstory, telling the dangers of magic. They used it to push the narrative instead of depart from it, where we don't have a side thing where it's like, magic is bad, and then back to the story. No, it's in the story.
Yeah,
So then Jace... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's still on the trial stuff. I like the designs of all the council. There's one lady with a clockwork necklace that's pretty cool.
It's really funny.
I did like, going back to the lighting too, I like how it's like the entire room itself like closes off. It's not just like they turn the lights off and then there's like a little single light bulb hanging from the ceiling or something. It's like, no, this is a whole, like, we gotta set up the
This is
mood
an
lighting.
ordeal.
It's like you can't see the people's faces, so that way you can't like read their interrogation. It's so you get like the utmost truth you're like fearing. And despite all of this, like, you know, Jace has a conviction to stay by his like beliefs. That was cool. And
Yeah.
they convince.
Sorry, Heimerdinger.
He almost gets like sent out of the city and expelled because, you know, magic is heresy. But then his mom's like, he's fucking stupid.
My boy a little dumb.
Please just...
Like, I know he invent, but he dumb.
He has a heart though. Can he stay with Mama? And then Heimerdinger's like, well, but his heart was in the good place. Let's lessen the sentence. And my favorite...
We have Jace mom time. Sorry, go ahead.
My favorite part is like they get 3 people to raise their hands, and then the 4th one is the guy messing with the puzzle, and like Mel looks over.
It's so absent-minded.
And he's just like, "Oh shit, you give me the toy. I'll support you." Raises his hand. It's like, "All right, cool. You're just expelled from school. That's way better than
Okay, bye-bye.
being put out of town to die, basically. So you're welcome." Yeah, that's basically it.
So then we get Jace mom time.
Jace mom time. She hot.
She just like consoles him, and she's like, all right, I guess don't do that, and maybe you'll continue the family business. So then he thinks to kill himself. Is that yet?
No, that's not it. Yet. Yeah, no, he gets to live for a few more minutes. We get to go back to your favorite character,
Victor.
Sigma.
Silco?
Singed and Silco, yeah.
Oh, okay. Not Victor yet. What does Silco and Singe talk about?
So we learn he's singed. He's like, "Ooh, I like poison. I am cool doctor." And then Silco's like, "Whatever. Okay. Deckard, you're gonna drink this because
Ooh, look, purple liquid. This is Mountain Dew voltage.
It's Mountain Dew pitch black. Drink it.
Oh,
it's good.
Shit, that's the purple one.
I have no idea.
And then his body has an adverse reaction because it's Mountain Dew.
Yeah. You can't ingest that much Mountain Dew at once. But it's like they're not really forcing him to do it. They're just kind of like, "Hey, to get stronger, you have to like you just have to get more powerful. If an opportunity comes along, you don't like you take every opportunity you can for power because we're bad guys and that's just our morals." It's not like that black and white. It's done a little bit better in the show, but it's like that kind of simplistic, like evil moral of power good with substance. It's easy, so get results. And then he's being really heavily pressured, but he drinks it, and then his body reacts to like not being gamer enough to drink his Mountain Dew. It's a little teaser for later, you know. Maybe more people are drinking the Dew.
A taste test, if you will.
Do you remember Mountain Dew
black.
Green Apple had like a name competition online?
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Man, yeah.
So, anyways, after that, we get what? A cut to Victor and Heimerdinger talking? And Heimerdinger's like, "Oh, yeah, as well, we're throwing this shit out."
Yeah. He's like reading through the book.
And he's like, "Wait a sec, this is kind of neat."
And then
I like this.
We get, like, because that one's a really short scene, right? There's nothing else to it.
Oh, yeah, that's basically it.
There's a couple more scenes before the Jace fun scene.
Yeah.
There's, like, some classism overtones where it's, like, the, soldier guy he's just, like...
Oh, I wanted to say something about that. Well, first, before that, we get Jace and Caitlin talking at the gates. Where she's just like, "I guess I'll do hammers now," and she's just like, "You do you, Jace. Go show them." And then mommy calls her in, so she goes to bed or something.
Yeah.
And then
it's her bedtime.
When the enforcers push back on the council, they're like, "Look, let's not do this whole thing. This is bad."
This starts.
And then I like that we get like rip off Darth Vader looking ass, sounding ass, where it goes like, "This is unacceptable." And he straight up gives a command that sounds exactly like what Darth Vader would give, and so I was just laughing and had to pause it because he just sounded like a rip off Darth Vader.
I don't remember that. That's funny.
And then we cut to the bar with the enforcers looking for Vi and Powder, and we get a really tense scene of them like hiding as they come, and the guy's like, "Hey, Vander, give me your children." Marcus, that's who it is.
"Give me your strongest stuff," and he has like a little button underneath that has like a little monkey alarm. I love it so much.
So we can only assume that Powder made that for him.
Yeah. I mean, because it worked though. That's the problem.
Well, well, that shows that not everything that she makes breaks. It's just everything useful that she makes breaks.
Except for even the monkey alarm kind of breaks afterwards. It's
that
done.
Might be part of the purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he puts up like the alcohol or whatever. Nothing that really happens like during the interrogation scene where they're looking down in the basement for the kids is really important, other than that Powder almost fucks it up and falls again.
It's a cool tense moment.
It's a cool tense moment, just not much to talk about. That's all.
Yeah.
Just that it happens. It's another thing that Powder fucks up because or almost does. They don't get discovered, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, and then we have another heart-to-heart with Vander and Vi.
Yeah. Oh, I liked how Marcus before that he takes Vander's cigar pipe and he just like puts it in the alcohol and then just blows it all over, like knocks it all over the table. There's this fire. They're just like, "You better get out of here."
It's like, damn, gotta get my backup pipe now.
This one didn't have all the flavor burn into it yet. Shit.
So then Vanderfi talked to. Remember anything from that? I honestly don't.
Yeah, it was like, hey, you don't want to get into war, kid. Like, Vi is the young,
Yeah, not
like,
everything
war
could be
eagle.
solved with your fists, pretty much.
Like the warmonger, and then Vander's like, yeah, that's how your parents died. You don't want that. You really don't. If I hadn't crossed that bridge,
back.
your parents wouldn't be dead.
Yeah. So don't like learn from my mistakes. And she's a child, so she's not going to.
Yeah.
So then we get to Victor trying to kill him, or Jace trying to kill himself, and then Victor's just like, "Hey, am I interrupting something?" And then we get a laugh track.
That I saw. I was like, they're gonna, what the fuck? They're like going, like, it was really tense. Like, I don't know who Jace is. I assumed he would survive, but like, I thought he was actually gonna jump and like hurt himself or something. And like, no, he gets stopped last second. It's a good one.
Yeah, really cool moment. And they have this really weird moment that I think is cool for me, weird for you, where he's just like, they're talking. He's like, "Who are you?" And then we get like pause, like his face. I'm Victor. And like for you, I imagine you're just like, "Who the fuck is Victor?"
I mean,
Meanwhile, I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh shit, it's Victor."
Was this like a form that's like not recognizable for Victor or something? Typically,
Let me show you Victor's final form.
Because I saw that and I was like, you know, because they're like, I don't even know your name. Who are you? And then there's like a little bit of a pause. I'm Victor. That's it. It's fine. Like, I was fine with it.
He's a little unrecognizable. Here, I'm gonna put
All
it
right,
up on
here we
screen
go.
now.
Who's it? Oh, wait a minute. Hey, he still has his cane though. Just got a little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, just a little bit. He
I
always keeps talking about the glorious evolution and stuff like that.
like his third arm a lot.
Oh yeah, we actually see that in the show at some point.
What the?
That was really cool.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
He's just
that's Victor.
Adeptus Mechanicus. Is that a good
Pretty
reference?
much.
Cool. I don't know anything about Warhammer.
That's close enough.
Yay! I did it. Yeah. That doesn't even look like the same person to me.
Exactly. That's why it's supposed to be a big reveal, because we've never seen his human form.
Oh, really? This was like the first time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because every time we've known Victor, we had like a oh, there's a skin line where it's like Oh, this one looks weird, and I think they didn't use it to affect his design at all. Prototype Victor. He just kind of looks like a generic goofy mad scientist.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, this is the first time we really get to see Victor.
You can see like his hair there.
I don't think that one's considered canon, because his hair looks weird. But anyways,
We get Hextech drop too, name drop. I knew about that because the Hextech crates that give you skin shards in the game. That's just that's it. That's all I knew about it.
It's not super like, when I hear name drop, I'm like, oh, they said League of Legends Arcane.
No, not a name
Like,
drop of the show. Just
that's
like
that's
lore
a thing
drop
that just
name.
exists, and yeah.
Yeah.
Then we kind of end the episode in I call it a Guardians of the Galaxy moment. Where
That's
it's just
pretty
like,
apt.
yeah, where it was going for like a 80s 90s feeling music, while like an action scene or something, like a tonal dissonance kind of a moment.
I really
where the
liked
enforcers
it.
storm the lanes, and I like how it cuts off with Vi waiting to be arrested, and we just kind of cut with that anticipation of who's opening the door, and we're
Yeah.
supposed to assume it's the enforcers.
I didn't even think it was going to be anyone else. I just assumed it was the enforcers. I was like, it's fucking, yeah,
Exactly.
that's it.
It was like a cool moment where Vi's like, I'm gonna throw it all away. I'm going to jail, and so this will bring peace. And it's a moment for Vi to learn. And she's like trying to do the right thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, like this is her maturity moment.
It gets robbed of her, which is actually really cool. I
Yeah.
really like that. She didn't get to mature, but not of her own volition. She wanted to.
Because that
Not
maturity
she didn't
moment
mature.
might have affected the events in episode 3 way differently. I mean, obviously, like if you're, in jail, you can't do anything. But like, if that had happened, where she got arrested, like as it was teased in episode 2, she would have grown as a character. And if she got out, like there's a jailbreak scene or something, like she would have been like a much more mature character, I think, than what she ends up being in the next episode. Because like, even through her maturity, she doesn't get rewarded for it. But I do like the music. I do like a lot, and I thought it was Vander who said it for the longest time because he's just sitting in the bar. It's closed, like he's expecting someone to come, right? Like I can't have any customers in here, but it's just after hours, is what it turns out to be. And like I realized, I realized when Powder looked sad and he like had a concerned look on his face, like he didn't know. I was like, oh shit, it wasn't Vander. Who is it?
Yeah,
that was cool. That's all.
And that brings an end to episode 2.
Wow, like this episode I think was the weakest of the 3. Mostly because like the beginning of an act and the end of an act are usually your strongest parts, but like the middle of the act, it wasn't that bad. It was like a nice introductory first episode for Jace and Caitlyn. Not really Caitlyn as much because we don't get to see like any of her in this first act.
Caitlyn doesn't become relevant until act 2.
Gotcha.
And even then, there's some things I want to talk about when she becomes relevant.
Cool.
But we'll save that for next time.
Next time on League of Legends show. It'll be great.
So episode 3, we get to start with a Silco monologue.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
I actually really like this one where he's just kind of drowning and talking super vaguely about what happened to him.
And backstory, I was like, yeah, we're actually learning who Silco is. This is where we like get his name, I think, is around
like,
here.
Oh, he's Vander's brother. Vander fucked him up. That's why he doesn't trust anyone.
Yeah, I didn't realize
to empathize.
It was Vander that was his brother. I just realized he was talking about a brother, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until like he said brother to Vander. I'm like, oh shit, he's a brother. That was cool.
And then after that we cut to Vi, and Vander opens the door, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Sorry, Vi," and just locks her away. And then he sacrifices himself to be the sacrificial lamb that the enforcers are looking for. And then Silco shows up.
Yeah,
with
Sorry, before we get into that, I just want to say the cinematography with the Rage versus Calm in the water was really, really cool. It reminded me of like the Sigma trailer in Overwatch. That was cool.
Dude, Sigma. Nice.
Sigma
main.
And I do really like this arrest scene just for like how it builds up Vi more than anything.
I like that Vi is screaming and the enforcer can hear her. She just ignores it because she's more willing to accept Vander's outcome than a child's. She's like, Vander knows better. I will do what Vander wants. And they've had an agreement.
Someone is going to mark that as a cinema sin unknowingly and be like, you could hear the child. Why would you not check the basement? And it's like...
No, it's obvious. They all know Vi is the one responsible. They just have to get a confession.
The intelligence of some YouTubers.
I know. And I never said that one happened. I'm just saying I'm explaining what is happening.
Okay, well, I was explaining YouTubers. I don't have any faith in most of them.
Yeah, so really cool that they are just choosing to ignore her. So yeah, then Deckard shows up. They're taking him away, and they have this really cool fog scene. Great shot, great cinematography, very like spook. You can tell something's coming because of the fog and Silco showing up.
Right.
Benzo dies because Deckard kills him and the sheriff.
Dies. Like
he gets ripped
instantly. Like he gets hit, it's just boom, dead. There's no like dramatic cut. He's just Benzo moves slightly, dead.
Benzo Dunzo.
He's just gone. And so I forgot who Deckard was, so for the rest of this episode, I just referred to him as Grimace from McDonald's because he was purple. So if I say Grimace, that's because I'm reading the notes.
I'm gonna call him Deckard if that's all right.
I might forget. Just wanted to let that know. Grimace is the purple guy.
Yeah. This is a really cool start of we get to see Silco is making plays to take control of the Undercity. Marcus gets his money, we see, because he sold him out.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of cut to Vi, like from Vi crying to Jason Victor doing some science, having a good time.
Yeah, I do not care at all about this B plot. I'm gonna be honest. Comparatively,
what? Jason Victor?
I care about it. I like it, but the cutaway from like Vander's fucked, and they're just like, I like magic orbs. Whoa, we were
No, but
like,
seeing
tense,
them having fun, seeing them get so into it puts a big dumb smile on my face. I'm like, hell yeah, Victor, go science your heart out.
I like it, but at any point other than where it cut off, I would be completely fine with it. It just cut off at like, hey, Vander might be dead because he's getting dragged off to the villain lair.
But that's intentional. You're feeling the tense and like you're feeling exactly what the show wants you to.
Yes.
Whereas other moments you find this frustration annoying because you're not supposed to.
It's not bad. Well, I get why they do it. I was just saying, like, that's why for this part, I was like, fucking go back. I don't care right now, please. You're having fun with your science. It's cool, I guess.
What if we turn the oscillations up? Meanwhile, Vi's crying, walked away.
Yeah, and there's just the blood. Okay, the blood splatter when he gets decked is so good, like on the window, because it's not like, because a lot of blood splatters I feel like go in slow motion. This is like 2-frame. It's just painted on the wall. Done.
Yeah, really good.
Really good impact to it. Like that whole scene gave me chills and or fear. I don't really know how to describe it. It was very emotionally impactful, though. I was like, that shit's going down. It's really
and then
cool.
we science.
And then science.
And that's about all that happens in that scene. And then we come back to Echo unlocks the door for Vi. And Echo watched it all too. And Vi, it's really interesting. Vi has to go from reactionary, like, oh god, I saw horrors. She has to then flip the switch to be the reliable one for Echo. It's really cool how she has this like motherly moment with all of the kids of the lane.
Because she's the oldest too.
Yeah, she's the leader, she's the oldest, she's the mother, she's all of that.
You lost your only father figure, like that you had down here. You are now the father figure. Like, or, mother, father. You're the parental figure there.
Yeah. I read a short story about Echo. I don't know if his parents are dead. Doesn't come up in the show. Doesn't come up in the show at all.
Because it seems like he lives with Benzo. Like, that's his, like, parent situation. Because you don't ever see him away from the shop. And he has, like, his own back rooms. So I just assumed he kind of lived there.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I just remember reading a short story where his whole, like, it's all about time, of course. It's about his birthday. And how I think he kept rewinding his birthday or something. Where it's, like, trying to make it the perfect birthday for his parents and not for himself. It was something along those lines. He's a really sweet kid. Like, he's a good kid at heart. And his short story is really good. Mm-hmm. But anyways.
I think there was a little... No, that was it. Because it's just...
Yeah.
We went back to, like, Jace and Victor, and it was like they almost blew up in a window, but they didn't. Yeah, and he's like, oh, it's unstable. We're getting the hang of it.
No, they haven't done that yet. That happens way later.
No, there's two. There's, like, the second time where, like, they break in, and then, like, the floating scene.
Yeah, they haven't...
The first time is the window almost breaks, and then that's it. And then it goes...
No, they still haven't done that.
There was another
They don't have the crystals. They don't have the crystals yet. We have to break into Heimerdinger's lab to get the crystals to practice the science. We haven't broken in yet.
I thought that happened... Never mind. Yeah.
No.
That's it. Yeah, they were just in there... That's right. Sorry. I got the timeline and stuff. I just watched this, and... Yeah, this is where they were, like, in their study, right? Just writing. I was like, we gotta... Yeah.
Well, we haven't cut to that yet. First, we cut to Vander being brought to Silco's warehouse. And that's where we learn about Silco's plans about making the nation of Zon. And that's where... This is the first time we hear the name Zon.
Didn't even catch that.
Yeah, well, it's because I don't know why they don't just call it Zon, because even before they want it to become its own independent nation, I just assumed that's what it was called. And it doesn't have really an official name. They just call it the Undercity. So that's kind of annoying to talk about. Mm-hmm. But oh well. Then we cut to Victor and Jace breaking into Heinrich's
I had
office.
stuff to talk about with Silco there. Because I like the flashback. This is where it's revealed. It's like, you're the brother. But
yes,
he's like, I respect you. You tried to kill me. But it was because you were strong enough that, like, no matter what, you had to, like, lead the resistance even if I got in your way. So I respected you for what you did to me. Until you became, like, a peacemaker and you gave up. That's weak shit. Now I hate you and I don't respect you. That was it. It was just a really cool, like, he's a villain, but he's not, like, he admires strength wherever it comes from. And then once he saw weakness...
Even on the good side.
Yeah, he was just, you're too weak. That's your problem.
Okay, so now
they
cut
break
to
in.
Victor and
Yeah.
Chase, like not really breaking in. They're just like going in after, like when they it's breaking in.
Yeah, because the other scene was like them on the chalkboard. I thought we were way ahead for some reason because I just missed
No.
this whole part was
So-
unmemorable.
So what happens is they're trying to break in, and Mel runs into them, and they have to quickly talk Mel into, like, look, you gotta be in this. Don't rat us out. You're in, right?
I like
And I
Victor's
really
line.
love this one moment where she first catches them, and they play it off for only about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
They give up on the joke so quickly, and that's what makes it so funny. It's like, oh, what am I? This isn't my
Yeah.
room. Okay,
Victor,
whatever. You
this
got
is
us.
not
You got
my
us. You
bedroom.
gotta be
Shit.
in.
It is so like flip on then flip off of just like
It's the perfect amount of time. The perfect,
you know,
just like on
wander in the
off.
halls. Yeah, her name is Medarda. Was what I saw.
It's
on the...
Mel Medarda.
Mel Medarda. Okay,
Medarda's her family.
got it. That's a hard name to say, so I'll say Mel. That works.
Yeah. That might just be a nickname that Chase gives her later. It's Mel. We're just going to call her Mel. And then we cut back. Anyways, yeah.
She gets
so
him one night. Like,
Yeah.
one night is like...
I need progress.
You need to have
need
something
results.
presentable by tomorrow morning or else I'm fucked. So to make sure you're not fucked, work fast. I won't tell Heimerdinger. And
Yeah.
she
Then we
distracts
cut
Garland.
then we cut to Vi telling the gang we gotta break out Vander, and then she's just like, Powder, you gotta stay. Like like this is the big job. You gotta stay. You might die.
Yeah, like this is... You don't understand, like the robbery was one thing, but this is like... This guy
This
killed
makes
people
the
in front of
robbery
me.
look like a strawberry.
She like... Very... Because Powder doesn't understand. She's just like, you know, oh, it's just another mission. You just think I'm
Baby
not
brain.
too strong enough. No! That man turned another man's skull into liquid. You stay home.
You take the day off today, okay?
You stay home. And then the crying scene, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, well, that happens. We then cut to Jason Victor. They power up the machine in Heimerdinger's office. And they just start powering it up. And then we cut back to Vi. To Powder. And it is the ugliest crying I've seen in my goddamn life.
I love it.
In any media.
Straight up.
Like, she throws the crystals. And that's when she learns hitting the crystals caused the explosion.
And she realizes, oh, I can help people. But the crying, I know it's disgusting.
It's ugly.
It's ugly crying. I've never seen ugly crying done in, like, anything. Like,
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's more realistic.
I
But, I don't
love how child ugly crying it is, because she just looks like she's losing her sanity. It's great.
Yeah, well, I think that is what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, emotionally, it just sold me on that. I was just like, I get it. Like, it's not, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, I'm a sad kid who's, like, pitiable. It's, I'm fucking losing it.
I'm the Joker, babe.
Not yet. I gotta wait till Act 2 for that.
Soon.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Then Victor and Jace blow out the window of Heimerdinger's office, and then alerting the guards, and they shut down the machine. And then we cut again
Yeah, just
to the gang.
it just
This is like we just get shots of Victor and Jace be like, this happens. Okay, no,
yeah,
back,
for like
back to the
30
big
seconds
story.
where they're just like messing with dials. It's like, oh, unstable, and then it just goes back.
I do really like the part where Jace closes his eyes and feels it out because of what he saw Rise doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
I didn't
that's
make
how-
that
that's how they make
connection.
it work.
That's a little bit later when they like finally get it, but
Oh yeah, that's when they finally.
that's a
get it.
cool
It
moment.
didn't-
I didn't realize that. I just thought he was like collecting
Yeah.
his calm and like remembering like that emotion to like drive him.
No, he was doing like the extreme concentration if you try to remember something really far back.
Yeah. Was he like remembering like the runes or something? And that's like when he
Yes,
was...
the runes and how he manipulated them.
So that was what the dial was manipulating the runes. Oh, like on the panels and stuff.
Yeah,
That
how
makes
the
sense now.
runes like flipped around.
I
Yeah.
did not catch that the first time. I just thought he was
Much
like letting
more
his heart guide
apparent
him.
next act,
Gotcha.
because they have like a device that is about like testing runes.
And they probably break it down like way more scientifically, air quote, like in the next act where it's like, here's how we did it.
Well, not really. We just see what their process is for new machines, and we can reverse engineer that and assume what's happening.
Okay, so yeah, it was kind of quick here. That's why I didn't catch it. That's interesting, because like it really is like boiling down like the runic alphabet to a science of like you just channel this like frequency of energy or whatever. That's cool.
Yeah. And they get into some really cool rune science where it's like it's not really an alphabet of if I do this, then this will happen. It's weird science. They make it sound really interesting, and I really like it, but I don't remember it. But anyways, so then we cut to the gang breaking in to save Vander. Everyone, Milo, Clagger, and Vi are breaking in.
Clagger. It's fucking Clagger.
Echo's not there.
Yeah.
It's fucking Clagger.
Powder stays home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're not allowed outside the house. Go home.
Yeah. And so they break in. They see Vander. They go up and help him. He's like, whoa, 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 what are you doing here? And then we get your favorite moment, the slow clapping Silco.
Okay. Here's why I loved it, is because media, it either doesn't sell the slow clap enough, or like it makes a joke out of it, where it's just like he's clapping and they're like, oh really, you're doing the slow clap? Like again with the Marvel movie moment or whatever. But
yeah, that sounds like a Marvel moment.
He just genuinely slow claps like an asshole, and it really sells like the smarminess, cartooniness of like him. He's really intimidating, but it's just like, what an asshole. He's just slow clapping, because that has to be played out like everywhere.
It's so intimidating because we know he has the time to slow clap, and it's like the lack of agency where it's like everything he does and everything that's intimidating about him is because of his resources and not him. Mm-hmm. He is not the intimidating thing. What he can do is not like physically, but it's straight up just like he will call someone to rip your head off. He's not going to rip your head off, but like people are waiting at the ready for his like finger, or just like wag a finger, someone dies.
Yeah, I've never thought that you could ever sell me on a slow clap in anything ever again, and this somehow did it, and I'm so impressed by that, because it was just like, it didn't go on too long, but it was just long enough to be like, wow, what an asshole.
Definitely.
Oh, I love him now. I was just like, that made me like him, at least somewhat.
I really like Vi is then sent to fight off the crowd with the fists that Vander used. Good.
Yeah.
Good to see she's using those. I really like the camera angle, the low shot of Vi contrasted against the really big thug. Really sold that, like, Vi is not meant to win this. It requires insane competency in her fighting to win this. And that just sells. She's a great fighter.
Yeah, and she's, like, the one-on-one situation, like, it makes sense because it's, like, on a narrow bridge. She just has to hold it against, whoever can fit on there. And what I really, really like, because it starts off, like, the cinematography is so great, it kind of devolves into, like, a whatever fisticuffs later, but she blocks the initial knife where you're just like, she's so fucked here. Like, someone's either going to save her, like, she's going to take a stab or something. She blocks it, one uppercut, guy's dead. She's, like, looking at him dead in the eyes, and Silco's like, oh, shit. Like, she's business.
Deckard!
Deckard! My sweet!
Time to drink the blackout!
Time to become the grimace I've always wanted you to be! And so, yeah, it just, like, she takes a couple guys one-on-one like that, and then it kind of devolves into a fist fight.
She takes all of them.
Which makes sense. Because it's as they're coming down on the bridge, she, like, hits one, and then, like, eventually enough to make it through. But the first little choreography there is so cool. Like, you'd have to watch it to see it. But it's very clean and methodical. Like, she's standing her ground. She's not, like, beating people up like when we saw her with the thugs. She's, like, very carefully thinking through and making her punches count with, like, what she has.
Yeah.
It's believable that she would win. Surprisingly.
They sell it. I really like the weight of her fists. Like, whenever she hits someone, it goes thunk. Like, the sound, and also, she's not, like, doing fast punches. We've seen her the entire show do really fast punches. Now her choreography has completely changed to slow, but every single one is almost a one-hit KO.
Because she has big metal hands now.
That's cast iron, he said.
Yeah. And, like, when she's lifting them up for the first time to put her guards up, it takes her, like, 2 or 3 full seconds where she's just like, whew, and she's, like, ready. But it's so, like, you can feel the weight behind it, and it's just that whole moment was just really sold, and I think that's what made it. The second half of this episode was what made it the best of the three, for sure.
Yeah. I really like that this whole time Milo is trying to break Vander out. And I really like how Milo's just, he's lost it. He's overstressed. He's fucking up.
Right.
And so that really helps sell the, like, he's a child. This is going to happen with children. And he's acting like the scared child he should be. No, but it's particularly children. Mm-hmm. He's acting like the scared child he should be. And because he's in way over his head. And Vander, then, it gives Vander a good moment to be that fatherly figure to calm him down. He's like, you've got this. You are capable. Just help furthering both of their characters.
Yeah, like, you really get to see the dad side of Vander there, which you don't see all that often, where he's just kind of, like, half scolding them. Here he's just, like, loving father, just focus, do it. And it's, like, you know, the opposite of, like, the dad with the flashlight, like, in the car. I don't know if you've ever, like, that, like, cliche that you've experienced where they're just like, fucking hold the light! You don't know what you're doing! It's like, I've had that happen before, too. My dad's a really loving guy. I love him. But, like, he gets really frustrated when you don't know exactly what he means with the car thing. Like, most people would be like that. But he, like, Vander is just really cool under pressure, and he's just a really loving guy. I love him.
Yeah, and then I think after that, does the Deckard fight happen before or after Victor and Jace finish the puzzle?
I think
it happens after. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, let's talk about it and, like, solve that. Because it kind of ends around here.
So Victor and Chase, then we cut to them propping a door open. Kind of similar to how Vi and Gang propped the door against him. Mm-hmm. But he propped the door against, like, Heimerdinger and the guards, and they, like, are just solving it. And then they manage, this is when he stops, thinks about what Rise did, clicks all the rings together, it works, and they're suddenly in zero gravity. And Victor has this really genuine moment that I just love, where Heimerdinger's just like, can you boys stop floating now? And he's just like, I'm not really sure how to stop, sir.
Yeah.
And it was so genuine, and the way he said it was so natural. And he's just like, I would if I could. I was like, I had to stop and just, like, smile and be like, I love this boy. I love Victor.
That moment was what saved the entire, like, cutting back to this, like, lab escapade in episode 3. I liked it, but it was just like, I wish it had happened, like, separate, where I was just like, they kept it to a minimum, but I was just like, I want to go back to, like, the Vi fight and everything, because it's just, that was such a cool, like, I know that, like, tension is, like, this overrated thing, but it felt like Jace and Victor were not nearly as important this episode. But it was still, like...
the whole point of this is to cut from, like... I prefer this way because I don't want to watch... The first half of the show, I watch all of the action, and then the second half, I watch all of the science. It's so much more boring that way.
Right. It's like tension, like escalation and de-escalation. It's a good technique. It's just sometimes it bothers me. But what sold it was this, like, crack-through moment of, like, we made progress... Like, I knew they were going to do it, like, because they did the whole cutting between him running to the door and everything, so it was predictable in that way, but it was still really well done.
They become... I find their story more compelling than the sisters in the next two parts, honestly.
This feels like the end of it, honestly, of, like, the sister story. This feels like the big, like, impact moment.
Well, this is...
Vi and Powder.
After this, we get a time skip. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, I was going to ask about when we got a time skip, because, like, we have to have one at some point. I've seen, like, their adult... forms and whatever.
This is the end of baby mode.
Of babyhood.
So anyways, after that, we cut back and we see that Deckard has lost it. You know, he drank the perp. He went the grimace, and now he's just decking him.
There's one moment
living up to the name.
I really like because it happens right before the Hex Tech final, like, breakthrough where they're floating through space, which is also a cool moment and everything. But Vi goes for, like, this giant smash down on Deckard. He just doesn't even look, grabs her in a chokehold, and then it cuts away.
I really liked that because what happens, that's to really
so
show,
good.
like, she is like, if it were any of the other ones, like, the show would have given that to her because that's what she was doing to all the other guys. It really helps show, like, this kind of power difference where it's like, no, this is effortless to him. He doesn't have to look at you.
Yeah, they
But
didn't even
other
just
people,
say,
they were,
"Oh, you lose." It's "You're fucked."
other people were given, like, they were fighting both people at their full attention, and Vi just wins.
Yeah.
But this one's like, no, no, honey.
I have the purple gamer juice, so you lose. It just
Yeah, so then
good
when
moment.
he throws her, she runs back and hides, locking like a big metal gate pretty much between Deckard and the rest of the crew. And they manage to get Vander out pretty much. Clagger has opened a hole in the wall and they're about to escape. And meanwhile, throughout this, we've been cutting to Powder. Has been this entire time. She escaped. She is now, like, she climbed the building. She is there to help. Even though they all asked her not to. And she has one of the blue crystals. She's got this Hextech crystal.
She has a few of them where it's like, I can help.
But she uses one of them. So she then puts it on one of her monkey things.
She actually uses, like, I don't know if you
clappers.
caught this. She stuffs the monkey full of, like, 3 of them and then puts a activator one.
I didn't notice that.
She
Maybe
goes
that's why.
fucking overkill with them. Like, she's like, if one's enough to save the building, four's enough to save many buildings.
So then she sends it in, and it's clapping away. Really good tension in the moment where it's like, we all, obviously we know it's going to work. But right before that final clap, it kind of just stops, and there's this moment of dissatisfaction before it does the final one. And it just goes so much harder than you expect. And I really love how this lack of foresight that Powder has causes so much destruction. She is not like let off the hook because she's a child. It's like, you are responsible for the weight of your actions.
I liked, because I actually thought, I knew that it was going to work in some way. When it didn't go off, I liked how he looked over, and because it didn't blow up, it looked like it was going to distract Deckard long enough for them, because they were having time to escape. They were going to make it out until it exploded. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, Powder worked by being a failure. But then the one time something works, it fucks everything up.
Yeah, and it causes
I
absolute mayhem.
love that, because I was
Milo
not expecting
and
it.
Clouder are killed in this,
Yeah.
and Vi is just crushed and wounded. Like, she can't move. She's under rubble.
Like, Milo's impaled, Clagger's, like, head is just bloody, and then they get crushed by rubble, where you can't even see their bodies anymore. So, like, they're dead.
Yeah. And I love how
brutal.
Powder, this entire time, she's not looking sad. She's not looking scared. She is absorbed by this.
And just, I love that tension of, like, she thinks she did something good, and there's this shot where she's falling off the building, whereas, like, there's the blue behind her of the explosion. She's, like, smiling a little bit, like it went off.
Yeah, that's what I meant
Little
when I said she
concerned.
was absorbed in it.
So cool, because, like, we do a cut back to the explosion, like, 3 or 4 times to, like, show what happens, because it's just, there's so much shit happening, because it's a big
It also
explosion.
shows that Marcus notices the explosion pretty far away.
Yeah. It's
And then meanwhile, in the aftermath, Vi is just fucking losing it. Like, she is in shambles mentally. And she notices Powder's doll we see. We see the little monkey head. And she, like, notices it.
and she gets really upset, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get a good moment of Vander picking up, not even picking up the gloves. He just goes and punches Deckard normally. Like,
He takes, like,
he had
the
some, like,
broken
meat claw
gauntlets.
or something.
Yeah, that was, like, the end
Yeah.
of, because his gauntlets broke. Those were, like, the ends of, like, his giant metal gauntlets.
Yes.
And, like, I got death flags from this scene and everything. It's so incredible still, though. Like,
Yeah, so then he fights Deckard, and Silco ends up beating him by sneaking up and stabbing in the back, throws him down onto a pile of shimmer, which he then drinks. And he kind of, when he transforms, he reminds me of Beast from Beauty and the Beast, you know?
like, how he's just so muscular.
No, just like his exact form reminds it, not just because muscular equals Beauty and the Beast, but his exact silhouette looks
Yeah, that's
like
what I was
Beast
saying,
from
was,
Beauty
like,
and the Beast.
Beast from Beauty and the Beast is really, really top-heavy in a very specific way of, like, muscles.
Yeah, that's
And he has, like, that kind of growth. Like, I wanted to talk a little bit more. I was going to let you just, if you had anything to say about, like, the Vander scene. It's like the fire and the music really culminates really well. And, like, it's like a lot of slow punches again, just because he's kind of weak. But, like, when he fell down to the vials, I thought he was going to lose, straight up. Like, I thought that was it. He was just dead. And then when we got to that vial scene, it's like, he blinks a little bit awake, but it's like, oh, shit. And because I knew he was on the vials, I immediately was like, he's gonna drink them. No. And like it had like me in an emotional vice, for lack of a better.
Yeah,
like it was so
it's a great emotional,
incredible.
it's a great sacrificial moment.
Because like he already had a sacrificial moment, but he gets a second one. He fucking gets a second one and it works. I don't know how you do that. Like, that just mind blowing to me. Where I was like, I didn't expect it and it still works, and it just, I'm still like so emotionally invested in, like, Vander gets like a double last sacrifice moment. I love it.
Yeah, so then we cut to him saving Vi. He just has to choose. He screams at Silco. Again, it reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. The way he screams, it's really cool. So then he chooses to save Vi instead. There's something primal in him, we can tell. Where it's like, he's not fully there. But he chooses to save her instead. And then jumps off a building and dies. And then we have Powder walk up, and she's just excited. She's like, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see how it worked?" And we clearly get to see her priorities here. It's just like, thing worked because it blew up. Aren't you happy for me, sister? And
she's like, "I saved you.
What have you done?"
It. Yeah. It's like a cliche, like, I did it. You did this, but like it's so good.
Yeah. And then it got super emotional where she just like straight up decks her sister.
Yeah, because like Vi, I took that as like, Vi punches a lot of things when she's angry. Like, it's just her emotional like crutch, especially like as a kid. Like, you don't really you have like the one way you react to emotions a lot as a kid, and like as a fighter and you just got done with a bunch of punching with a bunch of anger, it's like you just want her out of your face. And that's how she knows how to get her out of her face. Like,
no, I think it's more than that. I think it's straight up like, this thing has destroyed my friends. This thing in front of me has, like, this isn't get out of my way. This is, I want you dead for like a flicker of a moment. It's like, I want to inflict pain on you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's not that she wouldn't react that angrily, but it's like this very deep anger of like, even though you're my sister, like, you're no longer my sister emotionally or whatever, but that very,
well, we then see that she falls
anger.
She decides against that when she sees Silco standing over her, because Vi walks away when Powder is just crying, and then Vi like sits down and she sees Silco is standing above her, and as she turns to go help her, Marcus then comes and like drugs her, chloroforms her, and drags her away, and that's the last we see of Marcus and Vi for now, the rest of the
She's
episode.
like, don't get hurt, you'll die. Bigger threat.
He'll kill you if he hears you, is what he says. So Marcus is saving her, and then we just see Silco and Powder, and Silco is obviously considering just killing her, and that would be the easiest thing here.
Right.
But then he comes to realize she is in the exact same scenario he is.
That was such a
like,
cool parallel.
Betrayed by a sibling, physically harmed by the sibling afterwards, and it's just like left to die. It was like, I could use this, and I honestly kind of need this too.
I think this is the part too where we see that final flashback of like what exactly happened in Silco's backstory, which I like how it was unveiled over the entire course of the episode, but like we finally see, like, I mean, maybe it was when he was getting stabbed, like Vander, but it was like that, we see it's Vander, even though we knew it was Vander in the backstory. He gets like stabbed, and that's how he gets out of the same situation a second time, and it's just like that connection being revealed throughout the entire episode. You don't even notice how it connects. Like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to bridge this connection really quickly between that and then Vi and Powder. It's like it works so well, like just that little sprinkling. I like it. Yeah. Also, before Vi leaves, she says, "You're nothing but a Jinx," and I was like, it's not her mom, it's fucking Jinx, that's her. Like, no!
Did you not notice when Milo called her a Jinx?
I didn't catch that the first time, no.
Yeah, Milo, she says Milo was right, you are nothing but a Jinx.
Yeah. Well, this is my first time watching it, so yeah. I don't catch everything.
Yeah, how dare you. I expect more over the next 2 acts.
I am not a media expert, apparently. I am but a troglodyte child.
Yeah, and so the episode ends with Silco being like, we don't need them, we have each other, we'll show them all.
Yeah.
and then cuts him like staring at the camera.
And then Jinx also says she's not my sister anymore, and that too.
Yeah, that's before that.
Yeah, but we didn't. I just thought that was important to mention as like very mutual feeling of that anger of like, you're not my sibling. Like, I hate you now.
So I think that was it for all the episodes.
Yeah.
What did you think overall?
So far, like straight up, probably like 9 or 10 out of 10. Did a lot of really good stuff. Not really anything that I really hated. I was impressed by like a lot of stuff in this show, surprisingly. And I'm really happy like we're actually getting a game adaptation of anything that doesn't suck. We have like probably 2 of those now. I don't know what the other one even is. I'm just happy.
Yeah, it's useful when League of Legends is more of, it's not a singular story. It is a universe, and we take characters from that universe and then throw them into a video game.
Yeah, there's
no plot of League of Legends.
It's not like the Mario movie where it's like you gotta have like the Koopa Bowser fight and you gotta save the princess or something, and like Illumination's gonna put in some bullshit with that where it's like, you know, there's probably gonna be a Minions cameo or something, and like there's gonna be like some sort of, you know, what am I? I say it's a me Mario, but who is Mario? And like self-discovery, like whatever children's movie, whatever, like that every children's movie has. Might be a problem with Illumination, but it's like, it feels like video game movies want to be movies that feature a video game character line rather than video games becoming like a movie storyline like this does.
Yeah. So who were your favorite and least favorite characters, you think, of this act?
Of this act, I think... Are we counting only main characters or like any single character that has like any
Let's do main
sort of
characters.
Main characters, I'm assuming, are like Jinx, Vi, Jace,
Powder, Vi,
and Vector.
Vander, Jace.
Like the main
people that heavily impacted the story.
People that are like in League of Legends proper.
And Vander and Milo and Clagger.
Oh, like, because I was gonna count just like the
named
big
characters.
4. Because in terms of like big 4, I think my favorite...
We don't have to go this complex.
Is probably... I know, but I want to break it down like that because it does change a lot. Big 4, I think Jace is probably my favorite. Or maybe Vi. One of the two. I really like Vi, like a lot.
I'm a Jace man.
Probably
actually, I think
Vi.
Victor might be my favorite. No, in this act, Victor didn't do much. Jace is my favorite in this act.
Probably Vi in this act because Jace hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
Like he does a little bit, but like Vi and Powder Jinx are like the stars of the story. I would say my least favorite is Victor because he hasn't done anything yet.
That's fair.
I like, obviously Jinx is a fuck up, but that's the point. Like,
yeah. I think I'm inclined with how much I love Victor. I'm gonna have to agree with you. He doesn't do anything in this part.
He's not really a character yet. I forgot. I don't know if we ever mentioned it. This was a rewatch for you, and you play League of Legends. This is my first time watching, so I don't know what anything that happens in Act 2 or 3, at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've said things about what happens. I think it's pretty apparent. I've watched it.
Yeah,
I said at the beginning too.
Yeah, I just, in case we didn't say it, I just wanted to mention it. We probably did. In terms of like extended cast of like any named one, Vander is really good. Like, I really like Vander. He's just like a really cool dude. I don't know. He's up there with Vi. Like, they're pretty close.
I still like Jace the most.
Fair enough. Still?
And I still stand by Victor too.
Worst one is Marcus. Fuck Marcus. Straight up. Fuck him. I hate him. He doesn't do much.
He's meant to be hateable.
I mean, yeah, but like,
he does do things. Like, we get to see characterizations in him.
All that much. It's like
everything he does is like a characterization of him. Like, he's kind of scummy, and he's regretful of his scummy actions, and yet he still does them.
Yeah.
Like, we see he's like, oh, like he throws the money bag down. He's like, this isn't what I wanted.
still fuck him. I don't mean like, because I know you're supposed to love to hate him or whatever, but there's villains that do that. Like Dio is literally scum of the earth. Silco's literally scum of the earth. Like Marcus is just some dude. He hasn't done much yet.
He becomes developed more, and I think it. Yeah.
He just messes up the whole story in the first act. Like he's just in episode 2, he like takes Vander's pipe and is just like, I'm gonna be a dick because I'm kind of racist, classist towards you guys, and I'm gonna leave. And then I'm gonna make a deal with the bad guy. That's not his fault. I'm not mad at him for that, but he enables so much of like episode 3. And it's just like, fuck Marcus. Like, not even like, because it doesn't feel like it matters all that much yet, and that's probably why. But yeah, Marcus is just, if I had to pick a least favorite, it's not even that I hate him and he's a bad character. It's just fuck Marcus.
That's fair. That's all where do you expect to see the show go from here?
Because I was expecting, before you said it, I was going to ask if there was any sort of time skip, because I didn't know if it was going to be like a montage or like anything. It just looked like I thought we were just going to go boom, like keep on going forward. Maybe we do a time skip. So now I think this is it between Act 1 and Act 2? Because that would be my prediction. Is like, you already said that. Never mind. So I didn't predict it. I forgot you told me about that. But that's just narratively what makes sense. This is like the backstory. And then we get into like the actual like adult lives of, I expect Jason Vector to develop Hex Tech. Heimerdinger's probably gonna be like, oh, it's magic bad. And then something happens to Heimerdinger or something like that. And I don't know, something bad. Not that he dies. He's a named character.
How do you expect the sisters to continue?
The sisters, I mean, they hate each other. They're just gonna be fighting a lot. Like,
so you think that Vi hates Powder? Like that is an established fact now, you think? Or do you think it was a spur of the moment?
Like, because you're making me question it, I think it's the other one. But if you hadn't done that,
I mean, there was the whole scene of she runs to protect her sister, doesn't she?
It's like, I still think she hates her, like, enough. Like, not sworn enemy hate her, but, like, grudge and, like, you're not...
Okay, that's...
Yeah. Not like how Jinx hates Vi of, like, you're fucking dead to me because you left me to die. Like, she thinks from her position that Vi just left her to die to Silco. Which she, like, runs into, like, the only adult figure she has left is, like, no one loves me, please. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think, yeah, Jinx is definitely gonna hate Vi more than Vi hates Jinx, but I think that is like some very strong hatred. Like, it's not gonna be. They might have like a movie moment of where Vi goes like, "Oh, you don't have to do this, Jinx," but like I doubt it. It feels more like just kind of hatred of like regretful hatred from Vi, but like full blown hatred because she's a child too, like comparatively to Vi. Maturity wise too, and age. Jinx is just really young and impressionable, even more so than Vi. It'll be interesting.
Definitely.
That's a lot that I had to say about that, but
what do you think Singed is up to?
Nothing. He's making like Mountain Dew Code Red. That's what he's doing.
Oh shit! What does the Code Red do?
New flavor. Shoot, what would it... So the purple makes you big, green powers things. I'm gonna imagine that red makes you smarter. You get a big brain.
Okay. So then, like, Silco starts ingesting it, and he starts outplanning everyone.
Silco realizes it's a bad idea what he's done. That you shouldn't take care of Jinx because she sucks.
What do you think Jinx and Silco's relationship is going to look like?
I think I've heard a little bit about it, like, but I expected to straight up be like Joker and Harley Quinn, like full on. It's gonna be like.
So do you think? So you're saying Silco is going to develop like sociopathic tendencies like hers?
Emotional manipulation, like Silco is just gonna be like the Joker figure for Jinx, where it's like kind of like a Stockholm syndrome relationship.
Not in the way that Silco is wacky crazy like she is.
No, Silco's not.
Because when I hear Joker,
crazy.
my first instinct is, oh, so he's crazy now.
No, he's just gonna be a normal guy, but he's gonna like be like emotionally manipulative to Jinx to keep her like under his control, and she's gonna have like a devotion to him, like she does, like Harley Quinn does to Joker, and like that kind of wacky. Because I know she's kind of like a Harley Quinn clone in a way, whereas they're similar. That's what I expect from that. There's something I was gonna say. I forgot what it was. Because we talked about Silco and Jinx. It was something with Singed. I don't remember what it was.
Just a gamer.
It's not related. Like, I actually, in all seriousness, I have no idea what Singed is going to do. He's probably just going to do more drug development. He's not going to get any character. I feel like he's still going to be... he's not going to have, like, a revelation moment of, like, what if we're the bad guys? Or something. He's just going to be like, yeah, I want to make, like, cool potions. That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to make the health potion, League of Legends.
Yeah. I'm going to make the cookie from League of Legends, the item.
Oh, yes, the infamous cookie.
Yeah, I
think you mean biscuits.
Build. Biscuits? Well,
Yeah,
Ornn ate them and got health from them or something. It was from
a
starting rune or something. When I played Ornn, I did like a starting rune.
It's biscuits.
It's biscuits? Okay. He makes the biscuits then.
All right, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I think Act 2 is going to be pretty good, I bet. I have high hopes for the show. It's the middle act, which is usually the weakest, so I'm going to imagine it's going to be either the same or slightly weaker. I don't think we're going to dip down into something where it's like, if this was a 9, it's going to be like a 5, but it might be like an 8. I don't know how... It's going to be a while before I see these, probably, because we're recording this right before Thanksgiving. I don't know when this is coming out, but basically I'm taking a few days away from everything, so I'm probably not going to watch them until like right before we start doing the next one. It'll be interesting. I think it's probably going to be like a 9, 8, 10 situation where Act 3 is like really good. And that's just how narratives kind of work with like emotional impact. Maybe I'll like Act 2 a ton. Yeah. A lot of that plays into like your biases implicitly or explicitly. Even if Act 2 was like the most well done thing, it's just like it's going to feel like a lull probably. Unless they set up each act like, you know, a full on story like they have with the first one. Which if they did, I'd be impressed. Oh, that was the other thing. They're going to go to war. Act 3.
Piltover and Zon?
Yeah, Piltorn, whatever, versus Zon, yeah. Act 3, not Act 2. Act 2 is going to be, they're going to build up Hex Tech technology, and then they're going to be like, we can use this to kill people. And then they're going to go down into Zon and kill people with it. And then Silco's going to be like, I'm going to use the purple! And then he's going to use the purple to kill people. The purple flurp from Jimmy Neutron. That's what I'm going to use.
Okay.
And that, I don't know what's going to happen in Act 2. Act 3 is going to build up to that war. Somehow, some way. And Nick, I have a secret for if you're back. I hate all of this. I'm just pretending to like it. I actually hate good writing. High Guardian Spice is my favorite show of all time. Okay, good, you didn't hear all of that. Unless you look in the recording, then you might see it.
Well, my headset is wireless.
Fuck!